Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a ranked game in my Shima. I think this is the third game I played today. It's a destroyer fest. Gonna go on ahead and pause it to go over the matchmaking. Uh, got a Des Moines. Both teams have radar. This is actually a really interesting setup in a lot of ways. With the two Haragumos, they've got a firepower advantage. Um, Z52, I know Sabine. They're a pretty good player, and I know that's a player that I can count on. Um, Plus Z52 on C-Cap that's that's typically a pretty strong play. Um, Haragumo, Grozavoy, and Yu Yang. Uh, these guys pack up. That's a lot of firepower that can really punish destroyers in a hurry. Um, and that would be one of the things that I would try to get my team to do is stack all that firepower in. Gearing can, go off and, cap the off cap, but use this as like a hunter killer group. Well, this, helps tie up C, and these guys just go in the middle, get shots on C, and just steamroll any sort of destroyer. We're going to see how it kind of plays out. Um, my team uh, basically have two Shimas, so we've got more torque power uh, to their gun power, and also with the Shimas we're a little faster around the maps on average than their destroyers. So right off the bat, my Grozavoy is making a good play. He's coming in here, and this is a good position to basically to handle C-Cap. I've alluded to it before. You need to get angles on this cap. You need to get shots in around this back side of the island. You need to get shots in on this side of the island. And you do that, and you can really make a lot of guys pay. Our Z52 and Wooster are heading towards C. Our Yamato again's playing inside. That's another good position for him. Reason why I would not play a Yamato mid or a battleship mid in a DD heavy battle. There's going to be torps flying everywhere. Uh, and being in here, it gives you islands to use as kind of like a safe space. If you can see your destroyers are out here, that means the enemy DDs are at least out here, and you can use islands to screen yourself from any sort of torpedoes, even the gearing 16-kilometer torps. So I like our deployment. Now I am concerned if we do run into that death ball that I was talking about with the enemy DDs packed up. It's going to get crazy in here. So um, I am teaming up with my Yu Yang. I kind of expect the Haragumos to play mid, and this is not what I wanted. I dropped smoke. I know I'm going to get radared. The Grozavoy pops up, and Haragumo pops up, and I'm just looking to break contact right now. This isn't something that I can win. They even have the gearing back there that popped up momentarily. I broke contact, and this Yu Yang radared, so I'm gonna go on ahead and just keep shooting while I'm kiting. At this point, the Grozavoy is really the threat. The Haragumo is gonna kind of struggle to hit me at this range. Everything's undetected right now. I guess my Yu Yang blew his radar earlier. So, not the best trade for me, but it let me know that, one of the things that I thought, we had a wolf pack, but instead of, the Haragumo being on the cap, that's rough. That is not where I'd want to take a Haragumo, and I'm not gonna mess around. These guys are all kiting back to disengage, and I'm pushing forward because I want to make sure I get torps in behind this guy. If my team's not able to get this Haragumo, because he flushes out this way, um, I want to flood this backside of the island with torps, this whole area. So that's the reason for my push. I'm trying to use my smoke screen. It's starting to run out. You know, this turned out to be unnecessary. My team was able to finish him off. But again, if they hadn't, you know, the torps were there. I really would have loved to have those torps to torp this. But, you know, making sure C flipped is more important. I spot the Grozavoy. But again, right in here, you know, I'm looking for the Haragumo to pop out. Either that or the gearing. This smoke screen looks like it's the gearing with how long it is. Six spread torps, that's Haragumo torps. That tells me that there's going to be a second set with a slight delay. This Shima, I'm going to pause it right here. If you watch this guy, he basically was pushing straight ahead. And the issue with that is you're forced to do this big death turn. And honestly, he probably would have been better off just stopping where he was and smoking and just trying to juke inside of his smoke until these guys, you know, went elsewhere. Instead, he did this big death turn and he just gets, you know, evaporated. So if you're playing Shima, you know, don't bow in. You're really weak in a bow on fight. You either want to be broadside, you know, you can cheat where you're just like barely gaining any forward ground, travel in this kind of direction or this kind of direction. Or another one that I'm fond of is just reverse and just back into them. And that way you're already prepared to kite. You've got, you know, a bunch of your DPM on the back of the ship, and you know, you're fighting to your strength at that point. I've done videos before about how the modules are set up on Shimakaze, where even though you have less HP than a lot of the other destroyers, those modules add a ton of hit points to your ship. If you can set it up to where you're forcing the enemy to shoot at the back of your ship. So just a little misplay that I see that I'm going to go ahead and point that out. Now, map awareness, I'm looking at these guys. My RPF is out this way. That tells me that most likely there's nothing in the cap. And I'm looking for, you know, all of these guys, they're going back towards C cap. This Haragumo is doing this big sweeping turn. And remember, he turns like a battleship. So I'm tracking him in my head. And I'm, you know, dumping my sets of torps out in a fan-like pattern because I'm anticipating this guy's going to try to turn back to cover A. And if he doesn't, if he decides to just go C, then A is a straight free cap. So he's pushed back in. He detects my Yu Yang, and I'm dropping smoke mainly because I know my Yu Yang doesn't have smoke. But I also want to preserve my HP. I switched to AP. I don't have a shot at the Haragumo, but I do have a broadside shot at the gearing. I switch back to HE. Always want to focus the low HP target. If you notice, that was some decent pen damage on that gearing. And again, just focusing that Haragumo down. Haragumo goes down. Now time to skedaddle. We've got torps incoming, and you know, this is where Shima's good, skirmishing like this, hit and run, you know, fighting. So both me and the Yu Yang, we're going to push up here, and look, I mean, just during that time, the amount of firepower, they stomped this Yu Yang. If my smoke hadn't been there, this guy may have died. So I don't want this guy to get pushed. I'm healthier. I know that this gearing's around here. He's obviously stalling cap. Our Yu Yang actually pops radar now. I don't know if he didn't have it before, or it might be actually the Wooster. I bet you it's the Wooster. Um, this is sketchy. Turning into a Wooster. Really, he should have, you know, he was already turned out. He should have tried to turn out. I'm basically just trying to, you know, get any sort of shot that I can on this guy. It's not happening, but this gearing's dead. He has no smoke screen. He's basically rushing a Wooster. Uh, you know, he's done. So I'm going to jump back into the cap to try to cap this quicker. I know we've got a Yu Yang that appears to be tentatively interested in pushing in. We've got a Grozavoy that's heading in this direction. And again, want to point something out here. DD players, you're low health. Take a look at the minimap. You have all your team over here. We're getting a cap. You're on 302 hit points. You're right around 3 enemy ships. This is bad. This is bad. You're gonna die. I mean, those destroyers, they're going to cap C, and when they do, you know, this Yu Yang's probably gonna get detected, or probably just radar to see what's around the cap, and you're going to die. I'm dropping torps, anticipating that this Yu Yang might push towards A and try to radar us. And this is, you know, this is just, you know, being damage hungry. And right there, Yu Yang pops up, Shima's dead, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's not something you want to do. I mean, this battleship back here, he wasn't doing anything. Trading a destroyer for a battleship that's not really doing anything. Nah. Especially when you have so many destroyers that can torp him in open water. Yeah, no, I don't like that trade. Now, C-Cap's still open. I anticipate the, I thought the Grozavoy and the Yu Yang was going to cap it, but that quick spot right there, and let me stop it right there. That's the difference between how I was handling spotting versus that Shima earlier. I knew that any destroyer coming in this direction is going to be traveling like this, so I'm traveling more on a parallel course. It's unlikely that a destroyer is going to waste the time to come all the way up into here and take the longer route to get to A. They're going to try to drive here as quickly as possible. So by taking a parallel route, I'm able to pull off a rather critical spot that, you know, I really thought that this Grozavoy was going to cap C. I mean, he was right in the vicinity. You know, splitting up, you know, I don't really like that play. I mean, both of them have, I mean, this Grozavoy is healthy. And the Yu Yang's a little below half HP. Both of them, you know, theoretically could kill either one of the DDs that they push into. The issue is the Wooster. This guy is really the linchpin that would hold everything together, and he's playing smart. His radar is on both A and B, and he's ready to basically wreck anybody that's gonna push in. So this Wooster player, you know, really good move. Again, blind torping based on, you know, where this guy was headed, and he started getting into a gunfight with my Wooster, and I don't think this guy sees me at all. So I go on ahead and just smoke up, start shooting the guy, and F3s. Uh, it's just that's just dirty. Um, and this isn't me being smart. This guy is actually he's applied to join our clan, so that's me just kind of messing with him. That Cuter says hi. Uh, he's somebody that wants to be inside of our clan, so um, that's not me being a smart ass. So at this point, this game is pretty much done, um, and this is how Shimakaze fights these destroyer heavy fights. You use those torps. Um, and I mean, this is particularly is where the F3s are really nice. They're really nice dealing with the radar cruisers, and they're really nice dealing with destroyer heavy games. Um, and it's one of the reasons why I run them. So at this point, the Yu Yang, he's just kiting, trying to get whatever sort of damage he can do. This Yu Yang player, he played pretty well, uh, especially holding his radar earlier on. Uh, a lot of Yu Yang players, as soon as they get detected, would pop their radar. This guy actually held it, so when I actually smoked up, he was able to radar me through my smoke, and that was a really good play. That cost me most of my HP right there in that initial engagement. And we tick up on the points, and this is, well, that's my rank 3. This was my third game, the final one I've played so far. So many pop-up windows. But again, destroyer heavy game, not a lot of damage. Second on the team. And it's, the torp damage on the destroyers. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. This is, matchmaking where Shima, according to people on the forums and Reddit, that Shimakaze sucks. And this is just trying to tell you, it doesn't suck. It just plays different to a different tune. And you can play it rather effectively. I mean, if if I had not smoked up there, uh, I probably would have got out with less damage. Uh, I would have dropped off earlier, and that uh, the radar would have came sooner, and they would have had less chance to actually shoot at me. Um, so it, misplay on my part in that initial engagement. Um, but we also got a pretty good chunk of damage on their destroyers too. Um, but again, once things settled in, getting those torpedoes out there, you get those flash spots on destroyers, and take a predictive shot where you think they're headed, and you can do that with the F3s. They, every 100 seconds, they're up, and you can send them. Um, so I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Again, if the audio's still messed up, let me know. Leave it in the comments below, and I will keep tweaking it. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night.